Hello my creative friends. Welcome to my January 2013 thank you card. For anybody who places a Stampin' Up! Order with me, Heather North, I will be sending you one of these sweet little hearts cards. So let's get started on showing you how I made this. It started with my sewing machine. I'm going to show you the back. I wrote down my measurements. I tried different stitches and came up with the one I like the best, which is this straight stitch with a long space in between. You can play with your own sewing machine and see what you like best. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can do a couple of different things. One, you can just do nothing. You can use your pen, your Stampin' Right marker, your fine tip point, and just draw lines. You can use your paper piercing tool and pierce along here. And you can take your paper piercing tool, pierce, then use your Stampin' Right marker, and that really does look a lot like stitching. You can also hand stitch it. To make my hearts, I did a couple of different things. I took some of the stamps in the Hearts of Flutter stamp set. I stamped them in different colors, mostly primrose petals and pool party. I also did some pink pirouette just for some contrast. Regal Rose works really well with this paper. You can do all stamping, or you can do no stamping. And this paper from the More Amore, or is it More Amore Designer Series paper stack, has just wonderful colors if you like the hot trendy pool party and pink that's going on right now. It's double-sided. You could use either side. With some of them it matters where you place the heart. With other patterns it doesn't, and actually it looks good either way. But let's say you wanted this heart right here. Just take your Hearts of Flutter Framelit, put it over there, and I like to just use a post-it note. I have these flag post-its that aren't very big, and I just stick it on there, and that way it doesn't shift or move when I'm putting it through the Big Shot. So you would put it in your Big Shot, no tabs, just, I mean, all the tabs closed. Maybe that's tab 2. But all the tabs closed up, a clear plate, your paper, your Framelit, and another clear plate on top, and run it through. I already did that. You'll need 9 different hearts to create this particular card. Here you can see one of the Framelits that I used the stamp on. And then just the DSP. After you have all of your hearts finished, you'll want to just fold your hearts in half. I think this just makes it easier to have the hearts have movement and dimension after your card is finished. If you want a more rustic look, or if you just want to do this card a little bit quicker, you can just place your hearts in a row and freehand stitch it. If you feel the need to line it up and have it be a little more straight and exact, you can use your grid mat. You can't see it in the frame, but there's a ruler on the bottom and side of the grid mat. And so I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to draw lines at 3/4. I'll do the first one here. So I've lined up this first line at 3/4. You're just going to go down about 1/2 inch, and you're very lightly going to go down and leave a 1/2 inch at the bottom, because you don't need all the way to the top and the bottom. Unless you really do to stitch in a very straight line, you can leave it on there. I just wanted it as kind of a guide to make sure they're all in a row. So you're going to do a line at 3/4 inch, 2 1/4 inches, and 3 3/4 inches. So I'm going to do that. And then you'll have something like this. My next step is to just lay out the hearts in a pattern I think I'm going to like. Once you have the hearts where you think you'll want them to go, take your snail and run a little bit of snail adhesive just on the back center of each heart and line it up. What I like to do is the top and the bottom, trying to have the same space between the top of the heart and the top of the page and the bottom of the heart and the bottom of the page. And if you use the line, just make sure the line goes right through the center of your heart. And this is really just to keep it in place when you sew, so it doesn't go all over the place. Once you have your first row done, you also want to make sure that it lines up going this way. Now that you have all of your hearts on there, you don't have to push it down really hard or get the adhesive to really stick, because you're going to end up wanting to pull this up so that your hearts do that at the end. But first what you're going to do is you're going to take it to your sewing machine. I just started at the top and went down to the bottom, and I sewed through the magic of television. I sewed this card. You can see, I'll go a little close up. Start here and go down, and I cut off the strings, but I left a little bit of the strings hanging. I just kind of really liked that look and wanted it to look a little, I guess, unfinished. But if you wanted to, you can back stitch and lock that stitch in. And once it's all stitched, you're just going to pull these up before that adhesive really sticks. To just take a length of ribbon longer than your card, fold it over itself so it makes a little loop, pull your ribbon through, and you've got this little knot that you can wrap around your card. You flip it to decide which side's the best. I want it on that side, so on the opposite side I'm going to take some mini glue dots. I'm just going to pick up a mini glue dot with that, and it's the same side. I'm going to pick up a mini glue dot on that too. So there's mini glue dots on each tail. The top will be the shortest, so I'll wrap it around first. What I did was I just put this knot in between the top two hearts. It looks good in the middle, it looks good at the bottom. This is just where I chose, and it's where I have enough tail to wrap around. So you just wrap this around to the back and stick it on with the mini glue dot. Make sure it's straight on the front and that it has the same space all the way around to the bottom, and then put that around on the back. And there you go, that's our card front. Now to attach it to our actual card base. I did what they call a tent fold, but I'm going to actually turn it on its side. So it's 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2, folded it in half. Now I'm going to take some dimensionals and just put dimensionals on the back to hold it up. Now this is because I've got stitching on the back, I've got ribbon, and I don't think it will lay very flush and flat on the card itself, so adding dimension is a great help for that. And because of the stitching, it is a little bit heavier here, so if it doesn't bother you, you could just use 4. I like to use 6 so that the weight is supported in the middle as well. You basically want to make sure that you have the same amount of border all the way around. And there's your card. Isn't it cute? You could easily add a sentiment, you could add a tag, you could add a banner, you can add all kinds of things, and that's why I think I'll probably be using this to make a few more cards to show you. The last step I do is just kind of fluff up these hearts that got smushed down when I was putting the dimensionals on. And I purposefully left the inside blank. I usually do leave the inside blank on my thank you card so that you can address them any way you want. This would be a great thinking of you, sending you love. I think that we could all use a little extra cheer. So I hope you'll try this. If you do, please let me know. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you find some time today to get a little creative. And thank you to my customers. I really do appreciate every one of you who chooses me as your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Bye!